Hello, my dear friends. So today I wanted to share my own breastfeeding journey with you. And I thought about doing this because anytime I talk about breastfeeding on any post or in any group, I get such emotional reaction, especially from the mothers. A lot of mothers feel that exclusive breastfeeding is so difficult, and some even go as far as to accuse health workers of forcing breastfeeding down their throats, that it was difficult, but the health workers were forcing them to do it. And sometimes they say that the health workers are not empathetic with them. But generally, there's so much emotion involved anytime there's a discussion about exclusive breastfeeding. So I thought I should share my journey with you. So I have done exclusive breastfeeding 3 times because I have 3 children, and each time it was not easy for me. Nobody said exclusive breastfeeding is easy. It is difficult, but what is the alternative? The alternative is formula feeding. And formula feeding is not easy either. Formula feeding, you have to buy the formula, you have to prepare the formula, so that is money that you are spending buying the formula, and then you prepare it, and if you are not careful, your baby can get diarrhea. And even if you do it cleanly and your baby does not get diarrhea, your baby is predisposed to a lot of infections. So with formula feeding, there may be many hospital visits. So putting all these things together, formula feeding is not easy either. Breastfeeding is not easy. So let me start my journey from my first child. I'm one of those who don't get breast milk after delivery until about the 4th day. And with my first baby, that was very frustrating. But I had faith in the midwives and I had faith in the doctors. They kept saying, just keep putting your baby to breast. And by putting your baby to breast, or by me putting my baby to breast, my baby was getting colostrum. It's very tiny, but that was enough for the baby. And I kept doing that until my breast milk came in around day 4, or even day 4 it didn't really come that much. The next day, day 5. So did my baby cry? Of course my baby cried, but it was not necessarily because of hunger. So my baby cried whenever he poo-pooed and the diaper was wet and was uncomfortable. There were many reasons why my baby cried, but I knew that my baby wasn't hungry because my baby was getting colostrum. And then that baby as well was one who had very bad colics. So one thing about colics is that if you are not careful, you are going to interpret colics as hunger. You are going to think anytime your baby is crying that your baby is hungry. That is not true. There are many reasons why babies cry. Babies cry because they are too cold, they are too hot, the place is too quiet, the place is too noisy, some dress is scratching their skin, is my mommy here? I'm sweaty. Babies cry for many reasons. So if you are not careful, you are going to interpret colics as your baby being hungry. Colics, they usually come around 6 weeks, and even the babies who don't have colics, around 6 weeks is when they cry the most. So around 6 weeks, you find your baby crying, and normally they will cry towards the end of the day. And actually, that's the time you are also tired. So your tiredness and the baby's crying, they all just combine to frustrate you. So my baby had very bad colics, but then again, I knew that they were colics. And I knew that it didn't have anything to do with how full or how hungry the baby was. How did I know? Because I was keeping an eye on the weight. I was following the weight, and I knew that in the plot, in the child health record book, I knew that, everything was going fine. My baby kept wetting the diapers. I wet diaper maybe 6 times a day, and I knew that my baby was getting enough food. So colics, very frustrating, but you don't need to think, or you should not think that colics mean that your baby is not getting enough food. Then the issue of sleep deprivation. I'm one person who doesn't sleep during the day. No matter how tired I am, I'm not able to sleep during the day. I can lie in bed and take a rest, but as for falling asleep, I'm not able to do that. So you can imagine what a toll it took on me that I was breastfeeding through the night, and then during the day when my baby slept, I was not able to sleep. That is the advice we always give mothers. When your baby sleeps, try and sleep. That's not a time for you to be doing house chores, washing dishes, cooking. No. When your baby sleeps, try and sleep so that you don't get sleep deprived. Because even the mothers who have hypertension, a lot of them will complain that their blood pressures will shoot up because they are not sleeping and because the baby is crying and frustrating them. So how did I deal with my sleep deprivation? The way I dealt with it was that I got my husband to help me. So what I did was that during the day, at some time during the day, I would express milk. I would express enough milk, maybe 2 bottles or 3 bottles. And then some days I even expressed the milk and it didn't get used, so I stored it. So I always had a store of breast milk. And then when I was really tired and I got to bed, I did not want to be woken up, because once I wake up, that's it. It becomes, sometimes if I wake up maybe around 2 a.m, I won't sleep again, because I'm the kind of person who wakes up around 3, 4. So when it's close to 2 a.m, I've not had my enough sleep, but then I won't sleep again. And then during the day, I'm very cranky, I'm very irritable, just because I'm tired, and I may even get headaches because I'm not able to sleep during the day. So my husband would sleep in one room with my baby in the night. And then anytime my baby woke up and wanted to breastfeed, he will feed my baby express breast milk. That is how we managed it. Because, you know, the first time you're exclusively breastfeeding, it is actually very difficult because you don't have any experience. So the first time is very critical. If you're able to do it the first time, then your chances of doing it again and again are better. So my husband was amazing. He really helped me with that. He would sleep with the baby, and anytime the baby woke up, then he would feed the baby express breast milk. And one thing about my husband is that he can just fall asleep after whatever he's doing. He feeds the baby express breast milk and then he goes back to sleep. Both of them go back to sleep. But if it were me, after feeding the baby, I would still be awake and I wouldn't be able to sleep. So in that way, it helped a lot. There were a few times when he was not able to do it, or when I felt I wasn't that tired, and I let the baby sleep with me. Then what did I do? I breastfed lying down. I've heard a lot of mothers saying that don't breastfeed lying down because your baby will get ear infection, your baby will get this, your baby will get that. If you want to exclusively breastfeed, one of the things you can do to help you is to breastfeed lying down. Because when the baby wakes up in the night, you want to wake up and sit on your bed and breastfeed your baby. You will be too tired, and it will make the experience worse for you. So I breastfed lying down on the days that I thought that I could handle it. I breastfed lying down. When baby woke up and was crying, I didn't get up and carry my baby. Of course, you will carry the baby if you want to change diaper and stuff like that, but I breastfed lying down, and that was one of the things that really helped me. So that was my first baby. And then by the time the second baby came, I was more experienced. But then I was in school. So I was more experienced, but now I was in school and I wasn't at home with my baby. As the first one, I was working and my bosses were understanding, and I lived very close to home. So I would breastfeed and leave the baby and then go to work. And every now and then, the house wasn't far. So whenever whoever was taking care of my baby thought my baby was hungry, they would just call me and I would go back and breastfeed and then go back to work. And so sometimes while at work, I will breastfeed twice, or sometimes if I'm lucky, only once, because the baby will sleep through. And then after work, I continue. But my second one, I was in school. Where I lived was a bit far from home, not too far though, but you couldn't just walk in and out like the first one. So I had to rely on express breast milk. So with the express breast milk, I started early, and I already had a hang of how to breastfeed for my first child. So I started early. I had a store of breast milk before I returned to school. And it was not when it was time to go back, when my maternity leave was over, that I was now trying to express breast milk. If you try that, you may not be lucky, because you may not get breast milk. When you are in a hurry to go to work or school in the morning and you are trying to express breast milk, it's very difficult. Your body just senses that you are not relaxed, and the milk will not come, or if it comes at all, it will come just a little. And you are so in a hurry, your whole mental state is not conducive to expressing breast milk. So if this is something that you want to rely on, you need to start expressing early. You start expressing early so that your body can get used to it. I said this in another video. And you start expressing early so that you can have a store of breast milk, so that in the morning, if you are able to get, say, 120 mils or 180 mils, you know that when that one finishes, there is a store of breast milk that can be used to supplement it for your baby. So that was how I handled exclusive breastfeeding for my second child. I was in school, I was working, everything was difficult, but that was how I did it. Then my third child. My third child was completely different. The thing about babies is that they are all different. My third child, even when I left express breast milk at home, when I went to work, because now where I was living and where I was working was at least 40 minutes or 45 minutes drive. My third child would not take express breast milk. I did everything, tried feeding from a bottle, she wouldn't take. Tried feeding from a small cup, she wouldn't take. A spoon, she wouldn't take. A syringe, she wouldn't take. Anything I did, my child would just not breastfeed from anything other than my breast. And there are some babies like that. In some cases, it is nipple confusion. So sometimes they get used to the bottle and they would not want to suck at the breast. Or sometimes they get used to the breast and they will not suck on a bottle. So this baby, no matter what I did, she didn't want to take any breast milk. But I realized one thing about this baby. In the morning, this baby just breastfed and breastfed and breastfed. And then as soon as I got home, that is all my baby did. My baby breastfed. Baby would be full. I'll put head down. And after maybe 2 hours, the baby will wake up as if she has not fed the whole day. And then she will feed and feed and feed and feed. So, I mean, she just refused everything. I didn't try formula though, so I don't know how she would have accepted it. But one thing was that I kept my eyes on her weight. So I made sure that my baby was growing well. I made sure that in spite of refusing to breastfeed, my baby was still wetting the diaper, was still pooing. And also it was not an 8 to 5 job. So I got home around 2 p.m. So in that case, I was lucky. So I would leave home, say 7:30, and the last thing I do before leaving home, I'm already dressed and everything. The last thing I do was to breastfeed my baby because I knew that when I left, she wouldn't take anything. So I breastfeed my baby and then I would go. Of course, I was anxious. I kept calling, is she crying? My mom would say, no, she's not crying. I've even given her express breast. I made sure that there was always express breast milk. Even though she wasn't taking it, every morning I'll try and leave express breast milk. She wasn't taking it. Oh, no, she didn't take anything. She didn't even take. I just put it in her mouth and then she just, pushed it out of her mouth. You know how babies can, they can be so adamant. So, and then she cried. She said, no, she's playing everything. And then once I closed, I hurried and went home. And then as soon as I took off my clothes and washed my hands, or sometimes I took a bath because of the work that I do. As soon as I did those things, I took my baby and I breastfed, and she would just feed as if she hadn't eaten the whole day. Which is almost true because she would have eaten like 7 o'clock or 7:30 thereabouts, and then she's now eating at 2:30 or close to 3 o'clock. So that is my exclusive breastfeeding journey. I was happy about it because my babies never fell sick. My babies, even now that they are old, they are of a very good weight. Some are smaller than others, but when you look at their weight, none is overweight and none is underweight. And I was happy they were not falling sick. And I believe that is because they were exclusively breastfeeding. Of course, you can formula feed your babies and they don't get sick either. But we are talking about statistics. When you look at population level, and everywhere it is documented that babies who are exclusively breastfed, they don't fall sick as much as babies who are not exclusively breastfed. So I just wanted to share this story to encourage you. Because like I said, there's always a very emotional reaction whenever we are talking about exclusive breastfeeding. It is difficult. You need someone to support you. And in my case, my mom always supported me. And my husband, of course, always supported me. So you need people to support you. And in addition, just know that it's not easy. But like I said, formula feeding is not easy either. So, two non-easy things. You have to choose your non-easy and decide what you want to do. But like I said, I hope this has encouraged you if you are considering exclusive breastfeeding, or if you've done it once and you think it's too hectic, you won't do it again, or you've done formula, you now want to do exclusive breastfeeding. I hope this has inspired you, and exclusive breastfeeding is something that you would want to consider because in actual fact, it is the best for your baby. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe. And I know that just like anytime you are talking about breastfeeding, it generates a lot of debate. I know that this video is going to generate a lot of debate, and I'm actually looking forward to the debate. So put your comments, your questions in the comment section for me. Thank you. Bye bye.